And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys. And I did. And back in those days, you show how things have changed. One of the things you had to use, if you used pomade in your hair, you had to wear a bathing cap. And so he was up on the board, wouldn't listen to me. I said, hey, Esther, you, off the board, or I'll come up and drag you off. Well, he came off, and he said, I'll meet you outside. My car, these were all public housing behind it. My car, there was a gate out here. I parked my car outside the gate. And he said, I'll be waiting for you. He was waiting for 3 guys in straight razors. Not a joke. There was a guy named Bill Wright, Mouse, the only white guy, and he did all the pulls. He was the mechanic. And I said, what am I going to do? He said, come down here in the basement where mechanics, where all the pull there is. You know the chain, there used to be a chain that went across the deep end. And he cut off a 6-foot length of chain. He pulled up and said, you walk out with that chain. And you walk to the car and say, you may cut me, man, but I'm going to wrap this chain around your head. I said, you're kidding me. He said, no, if you don't come back. And he was right. So I walked out with the chain. And I walked up to my car. And those days used to remember the straight razors, you'd bang them on the curb, get them rusty, put them in a rain barrel, get them rusty. And I looked at him, but I was smart then. I said, first of all, I said, when I tell you get off the board, you get off the board, and I'll kick you out again, but I shouldn't have called you, Esther Williams. I apologize for that. I apologize, but I didn't know that apology was going to work. He said, you apologize to me? I said, I apologize for that, not for throwing you out, but I apologize for what I said. He said, okay, close the straight razor, and my heart began to beat again.
Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Can you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know. No good. No good.
No good. Really bad for you. No good. Really bad for you. Not good. Believe me, not good.
No good. No good.
No good. Really bad for you. Not good. Believe me, not good.
And where it should have stopped is at the deal standpoint, when they thought about it.
No good. Really bad for you. Not good. Believe me, not good.
No good. No good. And where it should have stopped is at the deal standpoint, when they thought about it.
No good. Really bad for you. Not good. Believe me, not good.
No good. No good.
Unbelievable.
And then they have cans of soup. Soup. And they throw the cans of soup. That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. But a can of soup, you can really put some power into that, right? And then when they get caught, they say, no, this is soup from my family. They're so innocent. This is soup from my family. It's incredible. And you have people coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup, and they lay it on the ground, and the anarchists take it, and they start throwing it at our cops, at our police. And if it hits you, that's worse than a brick because it's got force. Perfect size, it's like made perfect. And when they get caught, they say, no, this is just soup from my family. And then the media says, this is just soup. These people are very, very innocent. They're innocent people.
Watch Hillary examine the terrain. Watch a campaign with the man Tim Kaine. Tim Kaine in the membrane. Tim Kaine in the brain.
So stupid, so stupid. Thank you, thank you.
Really, how many people do that? You mean they moved out and then they said, "Ah, the hell with it, I'll move back in." You know, it doesn't sound like very normal. You mean they moved out And what, they missed it so much that they wanted to move back in? Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, and
I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to the polls.
In person, in my office, in Philadelphia. That's where they should be done.
Everybody comes in, your grandmother, your father, your mother, your brother, your cousins. Everybody comes in, your grandmother. 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 Everybody comes in, your grandmother, your father, your mother, your brother, your cousins. They come in so easily, so crazy, so crazy. Everybody comes in, your grandmother.
No, seriously, hot sauce. I've been eating a lot of hot sauce, a lot of raw peppers and hot sauce.
He was not a loser. He was a patriot, and the people left behind there were heroes.
Really?
And I resent.
Are you talking
like
about
hell.
Hunter? Are you talking about
I'm
Hunter?
talking about my son, Bo Biden. You're talking about.
I don't know, Bo. I know Hunter.
Yeah,
Hunter
you know,
got
well.
Hunter got thrown out of the military. He was thrown out, dishonorably discharged.
That's not true. It
For
wasn't dishonorably.
cocaine use, and he didn't have a job until you became vice president.
They felt pretty comfortable after day 2. They felt pretty comfortable after day 2. They felt pretty comfortable. They felt pretty comfortable after day 2.
Get your words straight, Jack.
Everybody comes in, your grandmother, your...
Hello, users, and welcome to another... Actually, I gotta fucking... Boop. There we go. Hello, users, and welcome. So I got my little Twitter thing set up. You know, it wasn't supposed to be already checked on, but... Yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be talking about protests again. I'm also going to be covering some other things, actually. You may notice that the camera is lower to the ground. You may notice that. That's because I'm missing a video game for the video game stack. So the camera's lower. This is more of like a realistic angle, right? I'm not, being shown, in that capacity. I don't, that's not my good angle, so... This is now like, About the retweet, you cut out the funny. I know, I specifically cut it out. And I did not appreciate that she started talking so shortly because it kind of ruins the clip a little bit. But no, I understand why you think that's funny. It is funny, but it's not Trump. And therefore, it's, it's not as funny. I mean, like, everyone thinks Trump is a crazy uncle. Like, that's not, you know what I mean? I prefer realistic angles as opposed to fake ones. Well, I mean, it's not a fake angle. The angle exists. It's real. It's a real fucking angle. It's just, it's what it represents, something that isn't aligned with reality most of the time. But it's like, it does not means it's fake. It's a real thing. It does exist, There are people that have seen me from this angle. That is, like, it's real, all right? But it's very few people compared to this angle. This is the more realistic. Like, if you're going to have an encounter with me, chances are this is the angle that the encounter is going to take. I have no idea what the fuck. All right. So we're going to be talking about some news here, folks. We're going to be talking about the protests for yesterday. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. Forest fires in New Jersey. Oh no. The return of the cicadas. Oh no. They're coming, folks. They're fucking coming. The fake angle is how Andrea has cleaned the one wedge of her room that's on camera. If you consider that clean, you should see the rest of the room. Lord have mercy. What is my new phone? I got a Samsung Galaxy S20. There you go. Boom. Cicadas are bullshit except to prove that God isn't real. I mean, there you go. No, more updates on the 4-year-old dead boy. 12-year-old previously thought to be dead girl is no longer dead. That's good. Uh-oh, tax filing deadline. Oh shit, child tax credits. Oh fuck. A man left 3 dead in a bullet-riddled car at the ER. Oh shit. That's crazy. All right, y'all. Let's do the recap, and then we'll get into some news. So, again, I just hope that everyone's having a beautiful day. I'm having a beautiful day so far. My day is fantastic. As of, 10, 12 in the morning. I mean, anything could happen that could fuck it up. But so far, the day is pretty well. Doing pretty well, rather. And so I'm going to talk about the protests in Elizabeth City. Day 26, folks. Day motherfucking 20 motherfucking 6. So I want to provide a little bit of a news update for day 27. So we were planning something for today involving taking up space at county commissioner meetings, and they the county commissioners have decided to not allow that to occur as they made their meeting private this morning. So that's kind of a situation. So we'll get into that later, and I'll figure out what's going to happen later today. But that's pretty funny. All right, so day 26 took place on Sunday. On Sunday, we usually have higher turnout because people do events that they prepare for all week. So for example, someone will say this Sunday. You know what I'm saying? And so Sunday, we had a rally. Where you had a bunch of people speak, and then you had a march. Actually, it was the march and then the rally, which I disagree with. Personally, I think having a rally and then a march is much better because you get people energized, and then they go through the city and they fuck shit up with their voices, I should say. And so that's why I was very confused that the march was before the rally. So it's very interesting. But either way, we had a bunch of speakers at the rally, and they gave us some interesting information. But we did have the march first, and so this is a photo of me. I'm beautiful, thank you. I know that already, but feel free to continue saying so in the chat that I am beautiful. And so here we are. We're setting up to march. We're preparing in this little, captured moment in time. We are prepping. This is preparation, station. So then we take up the road. We're on the road. And again, I want to say that there's a pretty large amount of people, especially compared to the last couple of days. And so that's pretty awesome. I love when we have the larger turnout. I just wish that we had a larger turnout every single day. But, again, people work and stuff. So it's like, what are you going to do, right? So we get on Airing House to basically today, or yesterday rather, we march from the Waterfront Park over to Airing House, over to Perry Street, which is where Andrew Brown was murdered. And so that was the idea. And then we walk back around to the waterfront from Perry Street. But we did take Airing House for a bit. Taco Bell lost some business, unfortunately. People had to settle for lesser fast food, like McDonald's or something. They just had to make that horrible decision. But anyway, so we're here. We get a bunch of people. Again, it's just crazy how on Sunday we have a bunch of motherfuckers, and then every other day, they're mysteriously disappear. Now, I understand people have work. I understand. But either way, we have a really good amount of people. If we could get this amount of people every single day, we did for the first week up until the curfew, that'd be pretty amazing. So anyway, we turn here. And as you can see, once the street gets smaller, this is also where the residential neighborhoods are. So we have a bunch of people that meet us here as well. And then so at this point, someone has an idea to break into like multiple different groups so that the cops are not, as coordinated. And so I get capture a little bit of moments of this. I'm in the back here. I'm trying to get the scoops. You know what I'm saying? So then we take a moment of breaking at the site of the crime where Andrew Brown was murdered. And so a couple people have some words of wisdom, including that, of course, there are no good cops. I wanted to say that part. I appreciate when we have these moments where everyone's just kind of standing still and people like pass the megaphone or people just start speaking, because it's really good. And then you have some people that will say amazing things. Like, again, there's no good cops and there's no reason why police have military style equipment. Like, what are they going to war? Are they trying to like capture terrorists or something? Maybe they think they are in their little fantasy world. But again, there's no such thing as a good cop. So we go from the scene of the murder back toward the waterfront park. And again, as we're walking through residential neighborhoods, we do pick up a lot of people. And by the time we get to the waterfront, there's just like, you can see noticeably a larger group of people here. Like if you scroll up and look when the march started, right, you'll see a decent amount of people. But if you scroll down, you see more people. And so that's the shit that I like to see. That's my shit. Like when you see more and more people gaining along the way. And so then people start speaking. And the only thing that was really worth of noting was that City Councilman Gabriel Adkins said that police officers of the sheriff's office department have been peeing on his property. They have specifically, like, he's got video evidence, and he said he's going to release the tapes. Now, I hope that they're the full tapes, but he's going to release that very soon, of sheriff's deputies just pissing all over his property. His postulation for that is because he has been one of the most, vocal city council members, which, I mean, I guess is true, maybe. But we had, a couple other city council members that said a lot of really good things, a lot of very powerful remarks. I wish they would do more as far as in their elected official position. But going on the microphone once a week and saying some cool stuff, that's pretty good. But again, the sheriff's department has been harassing them. They've been specifically going out of their way to harass the black members of the city council. And like, it's disgusting. It's gross. And it's, it just goes to show. Because, okay, so let me give you the story. So Gabriel Atkins gets on the microphone and says, he says, I want to read like a general statute before I tell the story. And he starts reading the general statute for public urination and defecation. And so I'm confused. I have no idea where this is going. I think, my first thought is, is the city councilman going to like say that someone, at a protest like peed somewhere and that's a problem or something? I don't know what's going on. And then he starts to say that the sheriffs are pissing on his fucking property because he has property, right? Just throwing that out there. Was council member Michael Brooks there? I believe we had Horton and Adkins speak of the city council. We also had Councilman Kim something. I forget their name. I'm so sorry. But they were also speaking as well. I don't think Michael Brooks was there, but he has been, he has been there in a couple instances. So, but there you go. My personal thing is if you're on the city council, like it's your literal job, right? That's my thing. It's like, if I were on the city council, hypothetically, I would be attending. I mean, I am attending every single day of protesting regardless. But if it were my job to represent the city, I would be there every single day. Ken Spence. Okay. That's my thing. Just throwing that out, and that's just my personal persuasion. But either way, so we have this rally. People get everyone fired up, and that's good. Except the rally was over, and then people like chilled out and like slowly poured out over the next like a bit of time. And so again, a lot of people are planning on occupying the county commissioner meeting that's going to take place today. And this is one of the things that, I want to say when it comes to organizing. I think that there are purposefully people, like, for example, if you are going to say something in this public fashion, like, hey, we're going to occupy a city commissioner meeting, they're going to change the rules. That's just how it's going to go. And so I think that the reason why they said that they were going to do that was to bait the city commissioner or the county commissioners into changing the meeting as positive propaganda for the protest movement. And that's how I perceive it. And so again, I want to say that the county commissioner, and it is important that the city does have some supportive members of the city, like the city council, there are some supportive members. The county is the problem because the county is gerrymandered in such a fashion where like almost every single official is like a Republican racist, right? You have the judge that was signing off on the orders who was saying that George Zimmerman should have, killed Trayvon Martin 10 times over because he was so justified, right? You have these people that are just absolutely fucking out of control. They're crazy people, that are judges, or they're county commissioners that are fucking, like the sheriffs, sheriff of Pasquotank County. And so, like, them constantly fucking with us. And now I also want to say that the COVID restrictions, now, whether or not I agree or disagree with them being lifted, the COVID restrictions have been lifted. So these people have been using the COVID restrictions as, like, their little, like, oh, sorry, there's a pandemic going on. North Carolina rules, can't have a, But now that the restrictions are lifted, them making the meeting private, right? Like, it's just positive propaganda as far as I'm concerned for the protest movement, of them constantly doing everything they can to fuck with us. And I want to say that again, for those of you that are watching, the role of the county in this instance, right? Their jobs, right? You might be thinking, oh, you're the county commissioner, you're the fucking, you're the district attorney or judge. Your job is to, rule or decide things fairly based on the fact. No, that is not. I understand, like, God bless your soul, that is not their job. Actually, their job is to be there and be as oppositional as possible to progress, right? So if someone does something that they disagree with, they're gonna throw the motherfucking book at that guy's bitch ass, right? They're gonna go away, they're gonna lock the key. If someone is black, they're done for, they're gone, right? But if someone is white and they say commit a crime, if someone is, say, a white cop and they commit a crime, like, let's hypothetically say someone rolled into a neighborhood on the back of a pickup truck with an assault weapon and murdered someone in a school zone. Hypothetically, of course, that would never happen, right? But if that were to happen and they were white and they were an officer, then of course, again, the role of these people, like the district attorney, like these judges, like all the people that work for the county, their role is to protect their own. It's the good old boy system of governance where it's like the people in the crew, they're good to go. Nothing will ever happen to them. The people outside the crew, throw the motherfucking book at them. We don't need them. And so you need to understand, and I really, like, if you take away anything from this show in any capacity, I need you to understand that the role of government, especially small town local government, the role of government is not to govern, but to obstruct. Right? Because they've already got the system in place that they want and that they need, right? They've already got the Jim Crow style system in place where they can oppress certain groups of people, steal their money, tax them unfairly, throw them into the criminal justice system unfairly to just steal their money and to put them on watch lists and to ruin their lives, right? This is the system that we live in. This is the system that we live under. So why would you need to govern if the governing has already been done? So the role of city councils, the role of counties, the role of sheriff's departments is not to govern, but it's to obstruct any form of progress that would ever amount in any capacity, right? So again, you have decent people in the city council. Okay, well, they can't do anything because the county. Oh, okay, let's say hypothetically we have decent people in the county. All right, well, they can't do anything because of the state legislature. All right, let's say we have decent people in the state legislature. Well, they can't do anything because of, like, weird filibuster rules. All right, so let's say we have decent, numbers and there's no filibuster rules. Sorry, the governor can do this. Right, so there's always an excuse. Oh, the governor is on our side? Okay, well, now the president's not on it. Right, so there's always, like, you have to understand, there's the form of government in the United States is so that there's always another party that can accept responsibility for something not happening. So, like, let's look at what happened when it comes to releasing the tape of Andrew Brown being murdered, right? At first, right, the sheriff's department said, we want transparency. We can't release the tape because we need an investigation, and the state Bureau of Investigation, the SBI, is going to come in and investigate, so we can't release the tape yet. And then the SBI was like, actually, you can release the tape. It's no big deal. We have no power over that. So the sheriff is actually the sole arbiter of whether or not the tape can be released. And, also a judge can, and, like, they can compel them to release the tape, right? But at the end of the day, the sheriff could release the tape whenever they want, right? And then the sheriff was like, well, we can't do it because, the investigate. Oh, wait, no, they say, okay, well, we can't do it because it's, it's illegal. And then they point at the fucking North Carolina code, and then the North Carolina code says, right, like, but that's, right, and so, like, there's always an excuse. They will always find another entity, another organization, another rule somewhere as an excuse. But when the rules, like, for example, we had someone speak who was, I believe, working with the NAACP, someone speak and list out general statutes for the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Department. And the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Department, explicitly outlaws lethal force when serving an arrest warrant. Like, they actually, like, the North Carolina law says that lethal force when serving an arrest warrant is okay, right? Depending on imminent danger and all that other stuff, right? But, that's vague. You can argue that in court, right? But the Pasquotank County Sheriff, their own rule book says that lethal force is not allowed when serving an arrest warrant, right? So that rule doesn't matter. And this is what I've been saying, is that, like, for example, here's a funny story. I had someone from NPR interview me a couple days ago, and this person was like, oh, well, how do you feel about the releasing of the tape? Now, you should know that the law in North Carolina says that the tape can't be released. And so my response to them, and I don't know if I told this story, but I'm going to tell it again. So I responded to them with well, it's also illegal to run in and murder people in a school zone, but they don't really care about law and order then. When it comes to copying and pasting a video file, oh, sorry, can't do it. Law and order. When it comes to ending the life of a human being, a father of 7 children, sorry. Law? Order? What order? What law? Oh, our own rules? The laws that I wrote myself with my own hand? Oh, sorry. Don't know about that. I have no idea. Right? And so then the NPR lady, this is a couple days ago, but then the NPR lady was like, well, how do you feel about, the judge? Do you think the judge and the district attorney should recuse themselves? And I said, not only should they recuse themselves, but they should be sent to prison. And then the NPR lady, like, she has like one of those tape recorders. She just like takes it away and turns it off and walks away from me. I shit you not. Like, there was no like, okay, thank you for that. Or like, no, like, all right, have a good day. She just like pulls the tape recorder and walks away from me. Like, it's so awkward. So weird. Right. But again, people really need to understand. Right? They broke the law when they killed Andrew Brown. They broke the motherfucking law. The law is not sacrosanct. Right? So, like, again, right, if you're in a position, all right, law and order, all right? That's your position. You kill someone. So the law has been violated. There is no more law and order. You can't just bring law and order back when it comes to copying and pasting a video file. What? Right? Like, okay, the law and the order has been broken. The law is in tatters. Order there is no order. It's chaos now. So the only way, like, at that point, there is no law and order. So, why, like, I don't understand. If you're saying that the law is sacrosanct, then you wouldn't have killed Andrew Brown, right? You can't release the goddamn tape because of some stupid rule, but also the more enforceable rules that you wrote yourself, say that you shouldn't have even been there in the first place. You shouldn't have even had assault weapons in the first place. You shouldn't have even killed Andrew in the first place. So again, it's a pick and choose scenario. So when someone says, oh, North Carolina law, go fuck yourself. Like, I'm going to shove that law in your face and I want you to fucking, be uncomfortable with that because you're a fucking idiot, right? So I just want everyone to know, I wanted to take this recap segment to get, to pepper in a little bit more, what we're doing here. And again, so this was day 26. So I want to let everyone know, day 26. Day 26. We have been protesting for nearly 4 straight weeks. That's a picture of me. Day 26, folks. Isn't that crazy? And we're nowhere closer. Think about that. We are nowhere closer to getting what we want. And I'm just going to let you know, and people need to understand this, because the sooner they understand this, the sooner we can start planning other things, right? So for example, right, the county, all the elected officials, like I said, will always make the worst decision possible, right? So when you expect a decision to be made, like a judge ruling, or like the sheriff is going to do a press conference, right? When you have to expect the worst possible scenario, and you have to know what the worst possible scenario is. So like something I like to do is like whenever someone says that like I hope an elected official, there is no hope. That's not happening. Don't hope, because when you hope, that puts you in a different method of thinking. You're no longer thinking about protesting the government. You're thinking about the government helping you. You're thinking about the government being on your side. That's not going to happen. You're protesting the government because the government doesn't work. If the government worked, you wouldn't be protesting, right? So like people really need to like just, there is no elected official that's going to save us. It's not going to happen. Now there can be elected officials that support us, right? But the system is designed in such a way that those single elected officials have no power, right? And even if they did gain power, let's say in the city, even if they did gain power, there would always be stopgaps when it comes to the county, when it comes to the state, so that, you know, to prevent them from enforcing or putting through radical politics, right? And so like, and that's what you really need to understand here. But again, we're organizing for the long haul. There are some other things that are happening behind the scenes. Mostly when it comes to, you know, group chats. We have people talking. We have people, you know, that are discussing things with each other. And really the biggest thing about the movement in Elizabeth City that is beneficial and that needs to like not be misunderstood is that people are organizing every single day. And that's so fucking valuable, because look at all, like, there's so many cities, there's so many towns, there's so many things that happen where eventually you have a point where the community breaks up and the protests stop. Now there's a lot of cities that have done 26 straight days of protesting, right? Now I want to also say that Elizabeth City has been historically like a historically peaceful protesting. This has been very shockingly nonviolent and historically peaceful for 26 straight days, and nothing has happened. So I want to let everyone know, like, yes, we've done all the rules, we followed all the laws, we did everything the right way. Guess what happened? Nothing. Nothing has happened. Not a single thing has happened, right? And so I want that to be, and you can draw your own conclusions from that. 26 days of nonviolent protesting, and we're in a worse position than when we started, right? Or at least equally bad, right? So I just like, again, that's in the terms of government. That's in the terms of government. Now, what has improved tremendously, what has actually had tangible progress, and this is why I need, I want people to reorient how they view goals. Your goal should not be to have the release the tape. Now, yes, your demand should be of the government for them to release the tapes. Absolutely. But your goal of the protest should not be to release the tapes. Because, again, the tapes aren't going to be released. And once they're released, then what? Right? And so you don't want to set up these short-term goals. Now, you want them to be demands. Again, you want the government to know that this is what you want. But you need to have internal goals as well. And internal goals should be revolving around, like, you know, meeting new people. They should be revolving around organizing for the long term. They should be revolving around, you know, making new friends. They should be revolving around, you know, just like, you know, learning the layout of your city. They should be revolving around educating one another. They should be revolving around, like, again, yesterday we had people bring food and water and snacks, and we had people feeding one another, like taking care of, like, you know, like if someone, you know, can't pay their light bill and they've got like 18 people that can call that maybe can chip in $10 each, right? Like that's the kind of community organizing that needs to happen, that has been, again, historically destroyed and just ripped apart since the 1950s and 60s. Social movements have been ripped apart into non-existence. They don't exist anymore, right? Like they're gone. Like if you can go out to a protest and not know anyone out there who's with you, that's a problem, and that's what the government needs, right? That's what they need, people to be atomized. And so again, we need to have internal goals, and we need to have external demands when it comes to protesting and organizing. Internal goals: grow numbers, you know, become more, you know, aware of one another, you know, train one another and like help prop up each other's weaknesses, you know, give one another mutual aid in terms of like food, housing, shelter. If someone is cold, you know, and you have an extra jacket, give them, you know, like that kind of stuff. Making sure that your fellow human is okay, making sure that their well-being is taken care of, because again, the government is not going to do so. Their role, look at the system, look at the hospitals in this country. You have to pay to use them. What kind of fucking bullshit is that? What is that? You have to pay to use a fucking hospital? What? Right? So again, the whole system of governance in this country is not designed to govern. It is designed to obstruct. It is designed to prevent progress. And so, but You can do that outside of government. You can progress outside of government. You don't need government to provide mutual aid programs. You don't need government to help people pay their electricity bills. You don't need government to help people, who are starving have food to eat at night. You don't need government to help people, who maybe don't have a place to sleep, have a place to sleep at night when it gets cold out, right? You don't need government for that, right? And the government is there to prevent you from realizing that you don't need government from that. Once you realize, oh shit, we have a group of 300 people here, and together our resources are enough to help one another, right? Once people realize that, it's a slippery motherfucking slope. And that's why the Elizabeth City protests have been, in my opinion, so successful so far. Because as far as internal goals of community organizing and getting together and like growing in numbers, we have had people like, on the first week, I knew almost nobody at the protest. Now I know almost everybody. I've had personal conversations with almost everybody who attends every single protest, right? And every time I see someone who's like, popping up for the third, fourth day and I don't really know them yet, I'll try to have a conversation with them because it's about like, even if you just have a conversation, just knowing people more makes you more comfortable. And that's really the thing you need to understand. Because again, the role of government is to make you uncomfortable. The role of government is to, obstruct. The role of government is to provide scapegoats. The role of government is to make people hate government, right? People think, oh, I hate politics because the government sucks. What? You hate politics because the government sucks. Okay, you should like politics because the government sucks. The government sucking is specifically designed to get people like you to tune out, right? They want you to not think, oh, politics, smolitics. Homeless people, whatever. The government could fix it. They don't. Therefore, homeless people, whatever. No. If the government doesn't fix something, you should fucking fix something. That's how this fucking world should work. And I think that in Elizabeth City, that is happening, right? That is that people are realizing, oh shit, we don't need the government. People are, so, and that's kind of what we're doing here. And so I just wanted to provide that little bit of like, message, historical context, that kind of stuff. And again, we are organizing for the long term, right? Like the protests here might not seem radical in nature, but radical protests often don't get anything to change, right? Now they can be cool, like showing severe signs of resistance can be good, right? But like also, if you're in jail for 4 days, that's 4 days where you can't be organizing, that kind of stuff. And you know what I mean? So it's like, and that's what they want. And so like now there's pros and cons to all sorts of styles of resistance. And I'm not going to like say that other people resisting in other ways is problematic. If you want to fucking, certain buildings on what, like if that's how you resist, I'm right there with you. I support you in your role to resist and to go against the government and to go against the system that oppresses us, right? So I'm 100% right there with you. But again, every context is different. Elizabeth City would not be better served if we burned a building to the ground, right? So there are cities, there are towns, there are communities where that could be the way that you protest, and that could be the most strategic and best way to resist. That is not in Elizabeth City. Elizabeth City is a small town, right? So like we protest differently here. And that's not to say that, we should have a more liberal like protest. I think that we should have a radical protest. We should have a very radical protest filled with very radical demands, right? And it's getting there, right? Like 3 weeks ago, right, people were saying, oh, I like the local police. The local police hasn't really given me that many problems. Now, people hate the local police, right? And that's the thing, is that right there is a win, right? If nothing else happens, right? If nothing else happens and the protests stop today, right? You are going to have people, right, that 3 weeks ago kind of liked the cops who now don't like the cops. You know what I mean? And so like we're having, like, things are getting more radical. Even if it doesn't look like that on the surface, I can assure you that people are getting more fed up. People are researching more about how government works. People are realizing how bad government is. People are realizing how bad these institutions are, right? So whether or not it's immediately visible, right? We're baking it into the cake. And so there could be a moment where like day, 57, for example, let's say day 57, right? A month from now or so, right? Let's say something happens and we do have a more radical or maybe potentially, like a different style of protest or resistance. And that could happen out of this movement, right? And so that's what you have to understand. Elizabeth City does not have a huge history of organizing, at least, since I've lived here for about almost 3 years, right? And so, like, you have to build things up from the ground. You can't have a successful resistance if, like, 80% of the population thinks that there's some good cops, right? You just can't do it, right? But you can have a successful form of resistance that it takes a different method if 80% of the community thinks that all cops are bastards, right? Or, like, along the lines, you know, like, so that's what I'm trying to say. We're in this part right now in the protesting where people are learning. People are educating themselves, right? Not everyone goes to protest. Not everyone knows a lot of this stuff. So people are educating themselves. People are learning more about the way that the system of the government works. People are learning more about the local elected officials. People are learning more about local government. People are learning more about the history of the city. And that right there has value and information, right, that is going to propel every single day that you have that information, right? You are going to be a better actor as a result. Right? So, like, every single day that you know that there is no such thing as a good cop, you are going to be acting in such a way that is going to provide a more radical form of resistance. You're going to educate more people. You're going to provide, like, your frame of mind, the way you go about the, you know, living day to day is going to be more radical once you realize that there's no such thing as a good cop. Once you realize that the system is what's broken, and those who enforce that system's place in the world, once you realize that that's the case and that there is no such thing as a good cop, right? How can okay, there's a good cop now. Okay, what did they do? Oh, they arrested someone for marijuana, but they're a good cop, I promise. Oh, they just gave someone a bullshit speeding ticket for being 2 miles of it. Oh, they just did, oh, but they're a good cop. No, they're my brother, they're a good cop. Oh, they just, assassinated someone in a school zone, but they're still a good cop, I promise you, they're good, right? No. If you uphold the system and the system is unjust, you are unjust, plain and motherfucking simple. Now, you can be a better actor in that system than other people, and yes, it is a sliding scale. There can be better cops and there can be worse cops, but there are no good cops, and that needs to be understood. But anyway, that was day 26 recap. I wanted to pepper in some, basic, theory, and then, some more outside context, because, this has been happening for a while now. And not everyone that lives here, really fully understands exactly what's going on. So I just wanted to, provide a little bit of a vibe check. And so, again, these things take time. And, we're learning. People are learning. People are becoming more radicalized. And, again, there could be a situation where day 69, right, something happens. And that's the day where, we reorient the whole entire movement, right? And so, like, that, like, you have to, account for that. So just throwing that out there, and there you go. That's the day 26 recap segment. Bada boom. I feel isolated locally. I live in a pro-cop red Q town. You see, Afraid Not, I thought that 27 days ago. If you would have asked me 27 days ago, right, I would have been like, I live in bumfuck motherfuck. Right? And so, like, maybe there are people that live next to you that agree with you, but you have no way of communicating with them. And so, like, that, consider that possibility. And consider what you can do that doesn't involve having a community member being shot and killed by a fucking slave patrol. Consider what you can do, right, that would help bring those people together. Right? Like, that's the kind of stuff. And I'm not, you don't have to be the main character here. You can just wait for someone else to do that maybe. But I'm just throwing that out there. How democratic is your organizing? As far as, like, people voting and then, like, deciding things, it was more democratic on the first week or so. There are people that have appointed themselves as leaders. However, they also give people a platform whenever people want. So, like, if you want a megaphone and a so-called leader has one, they will always give you the megaphone, right? But ever since we did, like, the permit bullshit, it's been way less democratic when it comes to marching. But when it comes to other things, people's input is very highly valued. And then also, when it comes to I guess it is still democratic. It's just not it's not as spontaneous. So, like, before, on the first couple of days of protesting, we would decide, like, intersection by intersection which direction we go. Now we have the routes because of the permit shit. We have routes planned a day in advance. And so, like, but, those routes are democratically decided upon at the end of the previous day, right? So it's like, okay, And so when I say the people have appointed themselves as leaders, those are just the people that are doing the paperwork. Those are just the people that are, for example, we have someone that has a bus now, and they like have a bus that follows the protest. So if someone like has heat stroke or whatever and needs like a cool place, whatever, we've got a bus, we've got ice packs, we've got medical supplies and stuff. Right. And so like, that's the kind of thing, And so, like, and not everyone is good at public speaking. And that's another thing that you need to understand. Like, not everyone is great at, I'm not that great at public speaking. I'm good at podcasting. I'm maybe good at words, but I'm not great at public speaking. And so I don't want to be in a position where I'm on a megaphone, like, talking like I am right now. I don't want to be in that position, right? So I would rather, push people slightly in that direction that are good at public speaking, push them in that direction if I can. And then they do, they do my bidding. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, like, that's like, everyone has their weaknesses and everyone has their strengths, and so that's been, I think it's been pretty decent. Now we've had some disagreements, but those disagreements haven't been like, we don't hate each other. No one hates anyone, and so like disagreements are handled democratically, and people like air their grievances, like, and how the government should work. Right? So like if someone does something that other people disagree with, we say we disagree, and then the person's like, okay, what are we going to do tomorrow? Right? That's how the government should work. That's how the fucking First Amendment was designed. Was that if people collectively had grievances, they protest the government, make their grievances known, and the government's supposed to respond in turn. But we don't live in that system. Right? We just don't live in that system. And so what we are doing is we are trying to make our community organizing representative of the system that we want to be in place governmentally. And so, like, yes, there are people that, I've taken the leadership role, but they're not the people that are going to like talk over people, right? They're going to be the people that says, all right, what do you think about this? What should we do tomorrow? What do you think we should do tomorrow? Like, what do you think we should have done better today? And that kind of stuff. And that's the important part. But anyway, does anyone have any more questions? Just waiting for questions. That was the end of my long soliloquy. Am I winning over the normies? Now, again, I want to say I am not taking any form of leadership position in this protest, right? Like, I barely do any public speaking. Like, the most I do is lead a chant or two, right? And so, like, but I've had conversations with people. I put ideas in people's heads. Right? And so I would say that yes, like I was saying before, yes, people are becoming more radicalized. I just want to say your facial expressions are even more apparent today in a good way. There you go. Some good ones to maybe make some emotes out of. Yeah, people have been charged for burning down the Minneapolis police station. It's actually a huge problem. People have been charged in very, very silly fashions. Jordan Light, do you know if there's video from the funeral and has made it to the media? Saw is going to file charges. Thanks. The video from the funeral. Oh, are you talking about Gabriel Adkins' property? Yes, he's going to file charges. I don't know if the video is released yet, but once it is, I will cover it. I've been septing people. Yes, quite literally. The most resilient parasite. An idea. Alrighty. So I want to like cover one other news story, and then I'll probably be done. All right. So I found this to be of high entertainment value. So I covered this a couple days ago. Liz Cheney got owned, right? So, okay. 8 in 10 Republicans who've heard of Cheney's removal agree. Now, again, real quick, now that I spent the last 30 minutes talking about how government doesn't work for us, right? The way that the government is designed in the United States of America right now, right? Now, I'm not talking about any grandiose origin stories. I'm talking about right now. The designation of the role of the government in the United States of America in the year 2021 right now is you've got one party that is a all-out, brazen and proud terrorist organization. What we have is the Nazi equivalent, right? I need you to understand, right? As someone who covered the January 6th riot in full, live streamed it, now that stream has been removed by YouTube because they wanted to suppress and censor history, and they don't want people to know what happened on January 6th. I don't know why YouTube doesn't want people to know, but they really don't want people to know what happened on January 6th. And there is a widespread cover-up of what happened on January 6th. Now, think about this. The President of the United States of America incited his supporters to desire to hang and murder their own vice president of their own party because their own vice president did not illegally destroy the government in order to install Trump as a dictator. Now, no, that is not a new Olympus Has Fallen sequel. That is not like a fucking big budget action movie. That is real life. That's what actually happened. That's what actually fucking happened. Right? And so the extension, right, the logical through line of the January 6th attack to Liz Cheney being removed, right? Those are like an extension of the party's Nazi-style adjacent terroristic impulses, right? The same people that wanted to overthrow the United States government and reinstitute monarchy, those same people support Liz Cheney being removed from her leadership position. And I need to be very clear that this is not, fuck Liz Cheney. All my homies hate Liz Cheney. She is horrible, right? And so that needs to be explicit, but let me read this here. A majority of Republicans, 8 and 10 is one hell of a majority, who have followed the developments that led to Representative Liz Cheney, RYO, being ousted from her leadership role within the House GOP agree with the decision, according to a new survey. The CBS News YouGov poll found 80% of Republicans who've heard of her removal indicated Cheney deserved it, describing her as off-message, unsupportive of Mr. Trump, by the way, who lost the previous election, and she's wrong about the 2020 presidential election. 80% of Republicans think that Donald Trump is the winner of the presidential election of 2020, which is clearly wrong, just for the sake of discretionary. Joe Biden won the election of 2020. Joe Biden is the legitimate elected president, and he's the legitimately, he holds the office. Donald Trump is not the president. He lost. He's a loser. He failed. He's gonzo. He's not in the presidency anymore. He will not be in the presidency until he maybe wins in the 2024 election, right? Which is possible. But as far as the 2020 election is concerned, he lost. Now, you can also go in to say he lost the 2016 election, but, we have the popular vote electoral system, which, again, is another one of those antiquated rules that just, allow terrorists to take control of government. But that's a whole different story, right? But I need you to understand. January 6th has been covered up. It's been successfully covered up, right? The news media doesn't really talk about it anymore. Democrats and Republicans are back to business as usual. No one talks about it. 80% of one of the two parties think that they genuinely want to overthrow democracy in favor of monarchy. 80% of 50%. Now again, I'm not talking about population here. 80% of 50% of the parties that have political power. Because we're not talking about really what that amounts to is 15 to 20% of the population. What that really amounts to, right, is about 15 to 20% of the population. That's almost nothing. But when it comes to political power, they have got 80% of 50% of the political power, right? And so I need you to understand, we have a terrorist organization that is not planning in secret. They're not on, encrypted channels, ready to strike. They're telegraphing all of their moves. How come I knew that Donald Trump was going to declare victory on election night? How did I know that? How did I know that Donald Trump was going to do some bullshit on January 6th? How did I know, hey, I'm going to stream all day because something's going to happen today? How did I know that? I knew that because they telegraphed all of their moves. Every single move from every single moment was easily telegraphed. Donald Trump saying that he never committed to a peaceful transition of power, him promoting groups like the Proud Boys, right? It was obvious he was never going to accept that he lost the election. It was clear. Anyone with a brain who paid attention could tell you he would have not accepted the results of the election. Everyone knew that. So how come everyone let him do that? How come people let him do this mass delusion? How come people let him get away with inciting a riot at the Capitol, which led to his own supporters dying? How come people let him do that? Well, the only answer is they agree with it. The people that let him do that agree with it in one way or another. Nancy Pelosi agrees with it. Chuck Schumer agrees with it. Joe Biden agrees with it. They all don't mind that there's a terrorist organization that has taken control of the United States government and has control of key chambers. They don't mind. In fact, they like it. They prefer having terrorists in government. That is their preference. Why? Because they're enablers of terrorism. They're enablers of fascism. That's what they are. That's the Democratic Party. When you've got one party and 80% of that one party agrees that they want to institute monarchy in favor of democracy, and the other party is like, cool, bud. The other party is like, that sounds awesome. 14th Amendment, Section 3, clearly states, those who have engaged in insurrection against the United States they are barred permanently for the rest of their lives from ever holding office, either federally or in any state legislative position. 14th Amendment, Section 3. It's in the Constitution. How many members of Congress signed on to that? About 50. Now, if you were to have utilized the 14th Amendment, specifically the third section, which is my favorite section, to its fullest potential, right, all but like maybe 12 Republicans would have been expelled from Congress. And that's not even going into what would have happened in state legislatures, right? You would have had a complete overturn in like Pennsylvania's state legislature. Every red state if the Democrats were serious about power, they had a cheat code that could have given them one-party control of the government. They had a cheat code. It was laid out in the Constitution. 14th Amendment, Section 3. They chose not to use it because they're afraid of power. They're afraid of doing what's right. Even when the options are right there, even when the cheat codes are fully accessible, they're still afraid of doing what's right. And now, 5 months later, we have 80% of one half of political parties in the United States who want to overthrow democracy. And so I just wanted to talk about that because that's some fucked up bullshit. And so I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. Again, I was on top of the January 6th stuff. Like when that happened, I did like fucking 2 shows a day for like a week and a half. Right? I was doing like 4 to 5 hours of content a day, uncovering how this happened, who are the people responsible, why it happened, what do we need to do. Almost in every single one of those videos I covered of the week of January 6th, I was saying 14th Amendment, Section 3, 14th Amendment, Section 3. Cori Bush started doing that, and I think she only had about 50 people sign on to it. And again, the Democrats could have declared the party as terrorist. They could have gotten rid of like 80 to 90% of the party, but they chose not to. That was a conscious decision that they made, and that's going to affect the course of history. They had if you look back right on history, look back at the Civil War, right? How did the 14th Amendment start? How did that get, signed into the Constitution, right? How? Remind me. Right, we fought a war because people engaged in insurrection against the United States. We fought a war because people in power used their power to lead an insurrection. And so once those people were banned from government and we had the radical Republican government, not radical enough, but you know what I mean, to have a distinction from the modern Republican Party, we had the radical Republicans of Reconstruction say, let's have a 14th Amendment. So not only can this never happen again, Civil War, but we can prevent what happened, and how the Civil War gained more steam, right? We had elected officials who wanted to engage in insurrection. That was why insurrection was engaged in, because you had elected officials in about half the states at the time that wanted to overthrow democracy. They wanted to overthrow any form of government that they had. They engaged in insurrection. So what they did after that was, when they had the radical Republican government, was they decided to have the 14th Amendment that says that if someone does engage in insurrection, that they should be banned from office and from ever holding office in the future. The key part. So that they can't engage in insurrection, lose, and then come back later with a different strategy. And that's exactly what they failed to do in January 6th. The 14th Amendment, if you look at the through line of history, if you look at all the bits and pieces, the 14th Amendment, Section 3, had one, as of this current moment in time, has had one, historical example of the most possible prime reason that it would exist. Right? January 6th, 2021. That is you cannot think of another event in American history since the 14th Amendment was ratified where the 14th Amendment, Section 3 specifically, would be more useful. Right? People, almost 200 years ago, saw what happened when you have elected officials engage in insurrection, and they said, we don't want this to happen again. And we have their warnings. Their warnings have been documented, and we have done nothing. We took their warnings and we said, fuck that shit. And it's incredible. It's incredible. What has happened in 2021 so far? Incredible. Breaking, Senator Ossoff, D-cute, oh my god, leads 29 senators urging immediate ceasefire in the Middle East. That's amazing, actually. 29 senators. That's more than I expected. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about Republicans. Fuck Republicans. If you're a Republican, fuck you. And if you're a Democrat, also probably fuck you. And I'm talking about elected officials. I'm not talking about, regular voters. If you identify as a Democrat or Republican and you're not an elected official, Jesus fucking Christ, man. You need to get, some form of, self-identity. Maybe find a hobby. Maybe find, a girlfriend or something. Because, Jesus Christ. Imagine saying this. I'm a Republican. Now imagine this. I'm a Democrat. What? People actually say that and they're not elected official. What? You're a human being, first of all. What the fuck? Anyway, I just wanted to have that little thing. Laughing my ass off. Oh my god. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed today's episode. I'm going to wrap it up here. So again, I don't know. I say a lot. I don't know. What the fuck? Does anyone have any questions, comments, or concerns? Does anyone have any grievances that they wish to express? Does anyone wish to peacefully assemble? I'm just texting. This is how much I care about the show. I'm just on my phone. There's a show going on? Alright, whatever. That's me. Wait, what? People are watching me? Do what? I'm just gonna go text on my phone. Oh, you're still here. No, I'm so sorry. I'm just reading, catching up on stuff. Giving people time to ask their questions. Where is Max? Max is on the floor. Woofing it up. As producers, I wish to freely associate with you. I love free association. Texting segment is the top segment of the day. Hell yes. The Truman Show. All right. What show? There you go. Thank you, Andrea. Have a good day. All right, y'all. Did I watch Buffy? No, I did not. I hope everyone has a good day. Israel is bombing news offices. Didn't that happen like 2 days ago or yesterday? Your last section was on fire. Thank you. I thought today's episode was good. I'm proud of today's episode. As someone who does no show prep, like I do zero. Like you might not know, like, you know, like sometimes I'll say I do. No, I do zero show prep. I do literally none at all. This is all like off the top of my head. When I started streaming, I had no fucking idea what I was gonna say. And then I just turned into like fucking, like just, like it is a good fucking show. It is a good fucking show. No preparation. Not even like an outline. Literally. Like I hadn't even like thought about like any of this, right? And it's just like boom. But it's all there. It's just in my brain, right? And then it's like, okay, you see this? You see this as a little, you know, a little news story, right? You put that in the brain, right? And then, you know, you shake the brain up, right? You put the lime in the coconut. You shake it all up. And then you fucking pour it out the eye sockets into the stream, and then you fucking absorb it. You know, I don't know what the fuck. Anyway, thank you for watching. Y'all have a good one. I love you all, and I want you to have a beautiful and amazing day. Oh, thank you so much. What the fuck do you mean no music? Hello? The music is literally on. Like, I don't know what the fuck you want from me. Like, it's literally playing right now. What the fuck do you mean no music? Check this out. Hold up. Hold up. Y'all are fucking with me, and it's not okay. Okay. Hold the phone. What do you mean no? What do you mean no? It's literally on right now. What the fuck do you mean no? Alright, check this out. Check this out. Look at this. Look at this. Hold up. Hold up. Boom. You see OBS? Look at that. Desktop audio. Hello? Desktop audio? What the fuck do you think the audio is? What the fuck do you think the goddamn audio is? Huh? Look, I got the YouTube video open. Look, I'm listening to it right now. What the fuck do you... Hello? What the fuck do you mean there's no goddamn music? Are you people stupid? Are you stupid? How dumb do you think I... No music. Whatever. Okay, OBS is broken today or something. OBS is broken, I guess. Fucking pieces of shit lying to me about the goddamn fucking music. Okay, guess what? If you think there's no music, which there is, by the way, there is definitely... If you think there's no music, I'm just gonna turn it off. I'm just gonna turn it off. Fuck you. Fuck this show, and go fuck yourself. You fucking pieces of shit. Look, I'm looking at you right now. Look at this. Look, the YouTube video, the audio, look at that. It's on. It's literally playing. It's right there. What the fuck do you mean no music? We're not hearing it. We're not... No, motherfucker. Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm turning the camera back on because now I'm pissed. Okay, listen to me, motherfucker. It's lit. Like, I'm listen. Can you hear it? Like, can you hear that on the microphone? Hold up. Can you hear this on the microphone? You can hear it on the fucking... Of course I don't have the music downloaded. You hear it on the microphone. Do you not? Do you not hear it on, or on the... Yeah. Can you hear that? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that shit. You can't hear that. You can't hear it through the desktop audio. Look at that. It's right there. Desktop audio. Fucking dumbasses. You fucking stupid pricks. I hate all of you. I hate